right after our soaking session. Our soaking session is the time where we put away everything and we sit and we just allow the song to minister to us. And so that prepares our hearts, it prepares our minds and our spirits for the word of God that's going to be coming forth. And we call it soaking session so that way we can just literally, if you think of it as, a bath. When you're stressed out all day, when your body's aching, when you have some sore muscles or joint pains or what have you, they would, old school would say, go get that Epsom salt and put it in that bath and just sit there and just relax. So that way it allows you to soak in that bath. And so that's what it is. Just be bathed in the Spirit of God and in the worship. Amen?
Amen.
And we'll be right back with our word from the Lord.
Yesterday we had choir rehearsal, but now we can sing it for real. Come on, help us sing this song. The Lord is my shepherd, everybody. The Lord is my shepherd. He goes before me. He goes before me. Defender behind me. Defender behind me. Y'all been practicing. I won't fear. I won't fear. Filled with anointing. I'm filled with anointing. Thank you, Jesus. My cup's overflowing. My cup's overflowing.
He's our comfort. Always holds us close. I'm going to use this with your hands now. We are never alone. He's our comfort. It's because His Spirit is living within you. We can walk in our victory. We want to shout victory.
Victory.
Somebody just say victory.
Victory.
Victory. We can walk in our victory. Thank you. Thank you. Let's just take a moment to center ourselves in the presence of God, to remind ourselves of the truth. To remind ourselves of the truth. That God is all that there is, in various forms, in various manifestations, in various degrees. There is only God. And because there's only God, everything in our life is made. Every day is a good day, despite our challenges, despite our feelings, which are temporary. We can look at it as a good day. And we thank God for being a good God. We thank God for being an amazing God. We thank Him for being our shield. We thank Him for being our protector. We thank Him for being the lovers of our soul. We thank Him for being the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. We thank Him for being an awesome God to us. Despite what we're doing, despite what happened, we thank Him that there's nothing that can ever separate us from His love. We give His name glory today. We give His name honor. And we magnify Him this afternoon. And it's in the name and through the power and in the consciousness of Christ Jesus that it is so. And so it is. Amen and amen. Well, welcome everybody again to Beyond Church, where we want you to beat you overcoming your negativity daily. And so I would invite you, if you have your Bibles or your app or the internet, to look up the book of Ecclesiastes. It's in the Old Testament. The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 4. Chapter 4, verse 7 through 12 is where we will find our text for this afternoon. And I just, as you're opening your Bibles to Ecclesiastes, chapter 4, verse 7, I just want to thank my dad, Deacon Rogers, for filling in for me at our last service. We thank God for you and the message that you brought across. Again, we thank you very much, which was an amazing word that we was preached into our hearing. So again, the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 4, verse 7 through 12. And when you have it, please signify by saying amen. And if you don't have it, say, I just need a minute. So the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 4, beginning at verse 7 in the New Living Translation reads as this: I observed yet another example of something needless under the sun. This is the case of a man who is all alone, without a child or a brother, yet who works hard and gains as much wealth as he can. But then he asks himself, who am I working for? Why am I giving up so much pleasure now? It is all so meaningless and depressing. Two people are better than one. Somebody say two people.
Two people
are better than one.
are better than one.
For they can help each other succeed. If one person falls, the other can reach out and help. But someone who falls alone is in real trouble. Somebody say trouble.
Trouble.
Likewise, two people lying close together can keep each other warm. But how can one be warm alone? A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated. But
2 can stand back to back and conquer. 3 are even better, for a triple braided cord cannot easily be broken. I'm going to talk for the few moments that are mine from the subject, I need you and you need me. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, I need you and you need me. One thing that we must remember is that we are not in this thing called life alone. It does not matter how much we profess to be a loner and that I just like to be by myself and I really don't want to deal with anybody else, and I can just go about life by myself on my own, and I'm just a loner. That's just me. The truth of the matter is that we need one another. The truth of the matter is that you are in need, I am in need of someone else or some other people to help me to navigate through this thing that we call life. There's a song that says, I need you, you need me. We're all a part of God's body. And I need you to stand with me, agree with me, because we're all a part of God's body. How do I know that we are in need of each other? Patty, how do I know that I need you and that you need me? Wendy, how do I know that you need Eric and Eric needs you? Ashley, how do I know that you need Deacon and Deacon needs you? How do I know that I need all of you and you all need me? How do I know this? The simple fact is because naturally it takes 2 people to produce one person. No matter how you look at it, it takes 2 people to produce one person. Your dad and your mother had, or to, regardless of if they were married or what have you, there had to be 2 people. You cannot make, even with in vitro fertilization, you are still in need of 2 people or 2 things from 2 people in order for you to produce one person. So it does not matter how we look at it. The fact of the matter is that we need 2 people to make one person. If we take it a little further, it is true that we are created by 2 people, but the truth continues is that we're brought forth by many people. Because when we're in our mother's womb, the reality is that when we go to the doctor, there's not just one doctor there that is helping our mother or the woman to give birth to the baby, but yet there is a nurse here. There may be a couple of nurses that specialize in different things, but the reality is that there is a team. Somebody say team.
Team.
There is a team that is needed to bring forth that which is already good. God Almighty. That which is already inside your mother's womb. And I'm just on pause here, get out my app and pay the Park Mobile, because I just need to sit here for a second. Because the reality of the matter is that on the inside of each and every one of us, there is a gift. There is an anointing that's already on the inside of us. But the problem is that we're having so much pain because we're trying to deliver this thing on our own. But the reality is that we need a team to be able to help us and to remind us that it's time to push. We need someone to be able to look down there and say, yes, I see your dream coming forth. Yes, I see your vision coming forth. Yes, I see the business coming forth, but you've got to keep on pushing. Tell your neighbor, keep pushing.
Keep pushing.
Point number 1. 1 is the loneliest number. 1 is the loneliest number. Verse 7 through 8. It says, I observed yet another example of something meaningless under the sun. This is the case of a man who is all alone, without a child or a brother, yet he works hard to gain as much wealth as he can. But then he asked himself, who am I working for? Why am I giving up so much pleasure now? It is meaningless and depressing. One is the loneliest number. He looks around after working so many hours, after gaining so much wealth, and here it is. This is why people say, more money, more problems. That's only if you allow it to happen. But this man was working so hard. This man was gaining all of his wealth. But yet he looked around one day and said, why am I working so hard? Because why am I giving up the joys and the pleasures of life just to gain wealth? Because I have nobody to share it with. I believe that if we could go on further in the story, and I believe if I could sit here and interview this man, he would say, well, it was one day that he came to himself and he realized that he had no one to cry to. He realized that he had no one to share the joys of life with. He realized that when he found himself sick in his body, that he didn't have anyone to come care for him. He realized that when he was going through an emotional roller coaster, that he did not have anyone to get on the roller coaster with him or even to help him to be stable. I believe that this man would have said that there was a point in my life where this was okay, because the only thing I was worried about was gaining wealth and working hard. But now I understand and I realize that there were some things in my life that I did not have time to address, because simply I was all alone and by myself. I had no wife, I had no family, I had no friends. Ask yourself, in your life, who do you have? And I'm not just talking about in the times of intimacy, but who do you have to bounce your ideas off of? Who do you have to be able to make sure that you are still sane after everything that you've been through? Who do you have to say, I just need you to sit here with me while I cry? Who do you have to say, listen, I just want to get out of the house and I just want to enjoy life? Because, listen, my mom told me some years ago, because, there's no secret, my family, we were okay, but we didn't grow up being well off. And so both of my parents worked, and there was one time, and for me, I was so conscious of that fact. And although there were some things that I desired and they did everything they could to do it, there was a point in my life where I came to myself and, I said, no, my mom said, let's go out, we're going to go do this. And I said, well, Mom, what about the bill? What about this? And she said, son, there is a time where you just have to be able to enjoy the things that you work for. And so the reality is, who do you have to enjoy life with? And again, it's not just an intimacy thing or a partner thing, but what family are you attaching to? What friends do you have? Who do you have? Because one is the loneliest number. This man spent so much time working and being alone that he had no time to address those very things of his life. And we don't want to go through life not having anyone to share in our joys. Somebody say amen.
Amen.
One is the loneliest number. Point number 2. Eric, can you just tap this computer for me? I just needed to be on in this point. Point number 2. 2 is a company. Somebody say a company.
Company.
Great, thank you. The reason that I believe that many people can't get past being lonely, one being the what number? The loneliest number, is that they don't really understand the benefits of 2. Because the number two signifies trust. It signifies faith. It signifies courage. We spend so much time saying, I can't trust no one because they broke my heart. So I can't trust no man. I can't trust her because she was out cheating. Or I can't trust them because they lied on me or they stole from me. You know, I can't have no faith in no one because every time I put my faith in someone, they always let me down. They always do this, you know, and because of that fact, I just have no courage to move, to go on. I don't have any courage to jump out there and to do the things that I love simply because it's just easier. It's just easier to be by myself, so I don't have to be disappointed by anybody. I don't have to feel sad because somebody didn't show up for me. But still, one is the loneliest number. The fact is that I understand that some of us even feel the same way at times about God. God, where were you when we fill in the blanks. God, but I was praying and you didn't. God, I thought if I would come to church, you would. God, I thought if I pay my tithe and give my offerings, you would. God, I thought if I delight myself in you, you would give me the desires of my heart. God, I thought that if I stopped doing this, then you would or they would love me more. I would treat God that way as much as we do with the people in our lives. Yes, I know that pastor hurt your feelings one day. They talked about you and spread all your business over the pulpit. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know that best friend never apologized to you from airing all of your dirty laundry out there. Yes, I know that that person did you grimy. Yes, I know that your boss overlooked you for a promotion. Yes, I know that there may be times where when you prayed and you thought it would happen, but that manifestation didn't happen right when you desired or right when you thought it was supposed to happen. Yes, I understand and I know all of these things. But there's no reason to walk in life alone. You have to remember, prior to all of that pain, prior to all of that hurt, prior to all of that which transpired in your life, what happened before then? There was a point that your best friend was sitting right there with you, helping you through it. There was a point where you prayed and you saw the direct results of your prayer right then or maybe the next day. There was a time where you were able to call on somebody and they answered the phone and you were able to cry out your heart. Yeah. There was a time. But what happened? Some would say life just happened. Things happened and now I find myself lonely because I trusted him and then this happened. Think about how when you were a Jesus promoter, when things were going right and well in your life. Just because someone did not live up to the standard that you intended for them to have, that you had rather for them, it does not mean that we lose faith in people. Just because God did not show up when you wanted him to does not mean that we give up our faith in God. Just because these things happen in our life does not mean that we stop trusting God and that we stop trusting God through this process that we're going through in our lives. It does not mean that we stop having courage. It does not mean that we stop
doing the things that we desire, it does not mean that we just go into our shells and just say, forget the world. I'm just going to be by myself. Even the people that you thought were closest to you, that does not mean that you give up. When you were learning to tie your shoe as a child, how many times did you have to take that knot out and try it again and do this and do that? But now you're able to tie your shoes effectively. You didn't give up. Somebody say, don't give up.
Don't give up.
Just because what you prayed for didn't manifest when you thought it should. Just because your family doesn't support you. Just because Susie cheated on you and Billy Bob went and talked to Bernadette, it does not mean that you get rid of the people in your life. Because there's a reason. Somebody say reason.
Reason.
There's a reason that these things took place. Because there's a divine order in the universe. And everything in my life and in my world and in my affairs are happening exactly the way that it's supposed to be. Yes, that very thing is happening exactly the way, yes, even that thing is happening exactly the way it's supposed to. Can I pause here for a moment and kick my feet up and say that there's some times where there's people's motives are not pure. And they don't always have your best interest at heart. Or they don't have the best intentions for you. But what we have to understand and know is that God is more powerful than any evil that rises against you. So we don't live our lives in fear. We don't live our lives in the shouldas, in the couldas, and the wouldas of what people did or do to us, or what people said or say against us. We have to stop focusing on these things and realize that the truth of the matter is that what they meant for evil, God intends for my good. So when they talked about you, they meant it for your evil. But God is turning it around and using it for your good. Every situation that has happened in your life that you thought was bad and was against you, God is saying, that's okay. That may have been their intention. Good God Almighty. That may have been their intention. But my intentions for you are good. I have thoughts that are good towards you. God says that I'm going to use this to better your life. Everything in life is happening the way that it's supposed to be. And when it's supposed to happen, you have to understand that you are not ahead of God. And you are not behind God, but you are perfectly in tune and in right step with God's divine timing for your life. So just because it didn't happen when you thought it would, or because this came up when it did happen, listen, everything is happening not only the way that it's supposed to, but everything is happening when it's supposed to. Somebody say divine timing.
Divine timing.
Two is a company. You all remember those Life Alert commercials, right? I remember growing up and, my dad, we would see the commercial, and my family, we have such a really crazy sense of humor. And, it would be funny. I'm sorry, that commercial, the old ladies out there, help, I'm falling and I can't get up. It's sad, but, we live with this, that she couldn't get up. But the thing about it is, she had that bracelet on her neck where she could push that button. To push that button and instantly help would come. But imagine falling into a deep state of depression. And there's no one to help you. Imagine no one there when you
fall on hard times, physically, emotionally, mentally, financially. We have no one to reach out for help. And only God knows what will happen after that. Because even in a time of emotional distress, some people go to an extreme of taking their own lives. Some people drink themselves to death. Some people eat themselves into oblivion. Some people sleep and forget about the world, and then the bills pile up. So all of these other things, like a domino effect, happens. What happens when you are lonely by choice? You can let us know last service that it is our choice. You have a choice to be lonely. And so by choice, you are one that lonely is a number because you said two's a company, or you don't desire to be around anyone. You have no one to reach out to. You have no one to reach out to God. When I've fallen and there's another person there with me, I can reach out for help. The Bible says that in our text, someone that falls alone is in real trouble. No one to call on, no one to assist them, no one to encourage you. It goes on to say a person standing alone can be attacked and defeated. And it doesn't matter how powerful, it doesn't matter how strong you are, because it doesn't matter how powerful you find yourself. You can be attacked. Somebody say attacked.
Attack.
Now listen, I'm trying to get this thing to cooperate with me, but we're not working right. So I want you to watch this video. Can we put the camera?
As they mature, young males begin to explore the boundaries of the pride's territory. Red has ventured out alone. And blundered straight into the middle of the hyena clan.
And we have to notice that he's by himself. But this is the king of the jungle, powerful and mighty, but he's by himself. Surrounded by depression, financial trouble,
By over 20 of them.
and he's doing his best to try to combat everything that's happening in his life.
This number of hyenas could kill him. It's impossible to fight them all at once. He can't keep them at bay for much longer. He's tiring fast. ally Tartu has heard the commotion. Now the odds have changed. Even for 20 hyenas, a pair of male lions is too much to take on.
And it doesn't matter how powerful you think you are by yourself. This is the king of the jungle who was surrounded by 20 hyenas, and you name those 20 things: depression, financial trouble, physical ailments. All of these things are surrounding him, and he tried to fight them off, but eventually he began to get tired. But oh, when he had a friend. His friend came in, and now there's two of them. The Bible says one can chase 1,000, but two can chase 10,000. And so the Bible lets us know that there are strength in numbers. Somebody say strength.
Strength.
That could have went another way. He was out there all alone, doing his normal doing his normal routine. But all of a sudden, life happens. And he finds himself surrounded. What are you going to do when you find yourself physically surrounded? That's when you have a friend. That's when you have family. That's when you have someone to call on, to even the friend heard the commotion. That's why you need people in your life that can sense and see and hear what's going on in your life, and just randomly pick up the phone and say, hey, you're all right.
Yeah.
One is the loneliest number, and two is a company, but three is a charm. But when there is three, the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, Peter, James, and John, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego, you understand this number three. Jonah spent 3 days in the belly of the big fish. Jesus rose on the third day. Three, the text says, is stronger than it is strong as a three-stranded cord. 3 represents divine wholeness. It represents divine completeness. It represents divine protection, or perfection rather. Each of these verses that we've read into our hearing, and I'm almost done, simply remind us that we are not created to take on life by ourselves as a loader. You can't effectively grow your relationship and your Christ consciousness and never go to church. You wonder why it feels that your life is unbalanced, and that's because you are out of balance. You are out of balance with your emotions. You wonder why your emotions are so wishy-washy. That's because you are trying to live this life all by yourself. That's because you're trying to walk and take this spiritual journey all by yourself. And listen, I know and I understand that we know here at Beyond Church that we live a well-balanced life. We balance our divinity with our humanity. But listen, when I need to feed my spirit, when I need to feed what's going on the inside of me, when I need to understand the things of the spirit, I'm not going to go to those people that have nothing or no sense of what the spirituality is. But yet I'm going to come, and I'm not going to forsake the assembling of the saints together, because there's people here that are walking in the the same mindset as me. The Bible says, how can two walk together except they agree? Listen, God is calling for us to be able to understand that we cannot go through this thing called life alone. We are literally in the middle of our growth series. God restoring our worth through healing. Listen, God is saying that you are able to restore your worth through healing, but it's not only going to come directly from me, because there's somebody else that is able to put the peroxide on your wounds. There's somebody else that's able to clean it all up for you. There's somebody that is professionalized in putting on that band-aid to help what's going on. And there may be a time that you need some stitches, and so there's somebody there that can seal up that wound for you. But you have to understand that, listen, you cannot do this thing alone, because there's some things that I am not strong in and that I'm not gifted in. But yet there's some things that Ashley is strong and gifted in. And so maybe I'm going through something in my life that, listen, that I don't realize that I'm still worthy. But maybe she's dealt with this thing before, and she can give me some tips and some pointers of how she was able to come out of it. Anybody in here are able to say, listen, I've been through that and I got through it because I was able to do this. The Bible says, how can two walk together except they agree? By all means, enjoy life, but we have to be balanced. You all remember that bowl that I had throughout this story? You know where it is. Can you grab a bowl? That bowl that I wrote some things on when we were dealing with restoration. When we were dealing with restoration, there was some time that we spent writing things on it that people said about us. They said that we were not anything. They said that we wouldn't amount to anything. And so, thank you so much. So when we deal with God restoring our worth, by now you would have thought that this would have been restored. But the fact of the matter is that sanding can be difficult. Good God Almighty. Ripping away of these negative things that were written on here that people have said about us can be difficult. And the thing is, I might not even have the right tool. There could be something more effective to sand this with and to help restore my worth. But if I don't ask, if I don't say, I'm feeling tired right now. So, Patty, if you can just, I've started working on the outside. Hypothetically. I've started, but can you just start working on the inside? Because there's some things there that are difficult for me to deal with. Don't get your clothes dirty, darling. It's okay. Hypothetically, there's some things here that I'm not able to deal with, and to get help. I need some help. But if I'm being alone by myself, it can take some time for me to restore that, to restore to its desired outcome. You may have experience with sanding, getting rid of some things. But one may have the experience of priming it to get it ready for the new paint that's going on. But if I'm all by myself, I've got to do the sanding by myself. let me go back. If I'm all by myself because all of these things that people have said about me, said to me, did to me, all of this, and now I'm just retreating from the world because I can't and I don't want to deal with anybody or anything anymore because now I have all of these scars and now I just can't do it anymore. And now I'm left here to deal with this all by myself, or I'm choosing to deal with this all by myself. So now I'm trying to sand and trying to restore myself all by myself. But on the flip side, it took people to tell me that I was nothing. There was people that told me you would never do this. It took people to call me all kinds of names. So now why am I going to deal with restoring myself by myself? So I surround myself with like-minded people that can help me to sand and get rid of those things. And then somebody else may say, listen, I have some expertise in sealing what's happened. Once you sand it away, now I have this thing called primer that I can put on to get you ready to take on and to remind yourself of your true nature and that you are a child of God and that there's nothing that can separate you from the love of God. And then now somebody says, okay, after you've been primed, after you've been primed and after you have this glow to you now. You may look good now, but it takes somebody else to take you to another step and says, now, darling, now, sir, it's time to put this fresh coat of paint on you. And so, listen, you want to use maybe the semi-gloss, or you might want to use the flat paint. It just depends on what type, to be able to look at it and ask someone, listen, I'm not very familiar with what to do after I'm here. And so if you're by yourself, you can't ask nobody. But when you are with like believers, when you are with people that share the same mindset as you, you're able to ask them, listen, I need your help. Somebody say, I need you.
I need you.
When you're surrounded by like-minded people that are going in the same direction, then you're not easily broken. When you're surrounded by people who are like-minded, that are like-minded and going the same place as you, somebody can call you a bleep, bleep, and that bleep. I didn't cuss today, y'all. Didn't do it. And you're able to say, that's not me, because I'm reminded in my circle of people that are like-minded, my family, my church family, I'm able to look and they're able to remind me that I am the righteousness of God. They're able to remind me that I am made in the image and after the likeness of God. They're able to remind me that when there are times where I'm feeling financially depleted, that listen, God said that He is going to honor the principle of sowing and reaping. And so therefore I'm going to sow into your life. And they're able to remind me that my Father owns a cattle on 1,000 hills. Listen, they're able to remind me that no good thing will He withhold from them who walk upright and are called according to His purpose. They're able to remind me that all things work together for my good. They're able to remind me. But when I'm by myself, only thing that's being repeated in my head, you're a failure. You should have never did that. You should have never made that decision. Who do you think you were trying to do that? One is the loneliest. Two is a company. And three is a charm. Amen? Amen. Amen. Listen, let's just take this moment to ask ourselves, if we're living the life, a balanced life, we ask ourselves and make sure that we are connected to individuals that are like-minded. Because I tell you, I don't desire to be in close relationship on a constant basis with people that don't understand how to live a divine life and live a human life. There's a balance. Those are the people that I desire to be around on a constant basis. So you ask yourself, those individuals that are in my close circle, if I fell on hard times, will they remind me of the principles? Or will they get rid of me? If I want to go out and have some safe fun, will they be with me? Or will they try to take it to another extreme? You see how it works? Humanity, human side of the divine nature. So it's in that consciousness that we thank God that we don't have to make the choice to live a lonely life. We thank Him that we are able to be connected with like-minded people that are able to help us spiritually and physically. We thank God for the manifestation of that truth. And we know the truth today. And we are calling forth those individuals into our lives that are able to help keep us balanced. It's in the name and through the power and in the consciousness of Christ Jesus that it is so, and so it is. Amen and amen. We thank God for the word, and if you desire to sow, we're going to have this time of offering. We really don't do so much of the basket and this and that before, but the basket is here. If you have cash that you desire to give, you have your tithes and of your offering, but also if you have Cash App, you're able to do that. $ Beyond Church MD. If you have PayPal, you're able to do that. Just search Kingdom's View, which is our nonprofit, and you'll be able to sow that way. I get my tithe online and everything, but I am going to give my some more offering here. And so just if you feel led to, you can go ahead and drop it in the basket. Do so online. Those of you who are watching, it's okay. You can go ahead and click off and go onto your Cash App and go ahead and sow your seed and meet a need and help us to grow and go beyond together. We thank God for each and every one of you. Thank you all for being here today physically, and we thank you all for watching us. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to let people know that we are here Beyond Church. And don't forget to join us Wednesday night at 7 p.m. for Talk, which is our midweek check-in, our midweek checkup to see what's going on, see how you're doing, and to answer any of your questions that you may have. You're able to submit questions anytime, any day of the week, and we'll get right to them. Thank you all so much. Am I forgetting anything? Am I missing anything? We have Digging Deeper that's coming up in August 17th. And so the flyer will be going out either this afternoon or tomorrow. So you definitely want to be a part of that worship experience. 5 p.m., 5 p.m. It's a Saturday, 5 p.m. On the 17th. Be a part of that worship experience where we come to really just to shed and not worry about anything, where we can do whatever posture you find yourself, whether you're kneeling, whether you're standing, whether you're pacing, whether you're laying on the floor, but just to be in a place of just pure worship. We want you to be a part. Again, thank you so much, and let's grow and let's go beyond together.